Hi, I'm Josh from eSpares, and in this video I'll be helping you to diagnose problems in your oven. If your oven is like this one and the display is flashing and some parts of it are working normally, such as the grill, but the main oven won't turn on, it may be that the clock needs resetting. Sometimes following a power cut, the clock can reset itself. You can see how to reset the clock by consulting the instruction manual that came with your oven. If you can't find your manual, then you may be able to download it from the eSpares website. Now, if the oven has no display at all and there's no power getting to it, then you'll need to check the power supply. First, have a look at the wall switch where it's connected. If the wall switch has an indicator light, make sure that that's on to show that there's power there. If there's a socket on the wall switch, try plugging another appliance into it, such as a kettle, to make sure that there's some power there as well. If there isn't any power at the wall switch, check the fuse box in your house. On the other hand, if there is power at the wall switch, then that would indicate a problem with the oven. Now, it may be an issue with the terminal blocks on the oven, and those are located on the back. Now, I'm just going to turn this oven round so we can have a look at the terminal block on it. This is the terminal block here on the back. Also make sure you've disconnected the oven when you do this. You can see how the cable comes in and screws into these terminals here. Those cables have got to be screwed in really tightly. If they're not, it can lead to burning and other damage. So just have a look for any signs of burning around the block. If you can see anything, then we recommend just replacing that part altogether, and make sure those cables are screwed in tightly. If the terminal block looks okay, the next thing you need to check is if there are any thermal cutouts in the oven. Now, on this particular model, I need to remove both the top and the back panel to access the cutouts inside. Now, these are the thermal cutouts here, and you'll need to test those using a multimeter. They should show up as a short circuit if they're working correctly, so a reading of less than a couple of ohms. Obviously, any reading that's dramatically different to that would indicate that there's a presence of a fault and you'll need to replace the cutout. If you are getting a reading of a short circuit, the most likely cause of no power to the oven is a faulty control board, and you'll need to replace the control board. Now, usually it's very difficult to prove the presence of a fault with the board, in which case you will just need to replace it. Now, while I've got the back off the oven, let's look at a couple of other problems that can occur. If you're not getting any heat from the elements, you can test them using your multimeter. Just place the meter onto a low resistance setting, and then put the probes of the meter onto the terminals of the element. This one here is the main fan element, so I'll just put the probes on. And for a working element, you should be looking for a reading of less than 100 ohms. Anything dramatically higher than that would indicate the presence of a fault. On this element, my reading is about 26 ohms. On the grill element here, 55 ohms and 35 ohms. So again, that shows that both of those elements are working okay. This oven also has a third element here at the bottom, so if it's the same on your oven, make sure you check all the elements for functionality. Another problem that can arise is noise from the fans, either the cooling fan here on the top or the circulation fan. This is usually caused by dried or worn out bearings on the motor, so you can usually resolve the problem by just replacing the relevant fan motor as necessary. Now, if your oven has a temperature indicator light, you can use this to determine whether the fault lies with the thermostat or the element when your oven isn't heating up properly. When you first turn the thermostat on, the light should come on and will turn off once the oven has reached the correct level. If there's a problem with the element, that light's never going to turn off because it's never going to hit the correct temperature. On the other hand, if when you turn the thermostat on, the light doesn't turn on at all, that shows that there's a problem with the thermostat. And of course, in either case, you can replace the faulty part. One final tip to bear in mind is that you can prolong the life of the element in your oven by turning it down to its minimum temperature when you've finished cooking, just for a couple of minutes, and that helps the circulation fan to get rid of any heat that's left in the element and prevent it from overheating. Now, if you need help diagnosing other issues in your appliances, check out our other eSpares videos, and spares for ovens, along with other appliances, are available on the eSpares website. Thanks for watching.